Good evening on the 29th of March. As I'm live streaming this, it's Good Friday evening. And all throughout the day, I was really blessed with a lot of help. And I got help from my son Andrew, who helped me with the candles in the morning service. And at the morning service, my wife Karen was there helping with the lights, just like she sang so beautifully the 22nd Psalm yesterday evening in the worship service. And today, Karen did just about everything you can imagine to get me through the day after the busyness of all of the services that we've had throughout Holy Week and also throughout Lent. And I'm so thankful for her. And it's very fitting that as we're going through our reading through the Bible readings, we have the proverb, one of them in the book of Proverbs, about a good wife. Proverbs 12:4 says, "An excellent wife is the crown of her husband, but she who brings shame is like rottenness in his bones." So the first part of that verse is what we're looking at, of course, and as we do so, it is rather interesting that, in the English translation, it's an excellent wife. That sounds good, but it maybe is a little generic. The Hebrew is a little more specific. It is a wife of valor, or a strong, brave wife might be another way of putting it. Strength, bravery, even military prowess is being described here in this proverb as it applies to a wife, and that is certainly countercultural, so that is good to talk about, to be sure. Now, bear in mind that as we talk about this excellent wife, or this wife of moral and spiritual strength, that this strength is something that comes from God. As God calls us sinners to repentance through the gospel, He not only empowers us to have faith, but He also empowers us for a sanctified life, that we grow in faith and in good works. And this is played out in the life of a wife who is able, by God's help, through faith, to be able to be exemplary, to be a wife of valor, to really make a difference in her family, in her husband's life, and even in the world. In the Old Testament, Ruth is such a person. Formerly, she was a pagan, but then she was converted to saving faith in the one true God. And she was even able to express confidence in the resurrection, which, as we get ready for Easter, is good to think about too. Maybe when we get to Ruth, we'll look at that in greater detail, but you might remember when she said to Naomi, "Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you, for where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord do so to me and more, also, if anything but death parts me from you." In fact, I remember early in our courtship, Karen and I heard a sermon on those words that really made a difference in our lives. So, a good wife, most of all, has a strong faith in God and strong moral values too. She fears the Lord. She does good and not evil. She's able to teach divine wisdom. In fact, all of these characteristics are part of the book of Proverbs' description of a believer who has been endowed with God's gift of wisdom. So as we look in greater detail at this wife of strong character, she also is accomplished. She has skills, and the examples given are being able to produce clothing for her children, and bedspreads and clothing for herself, and even extra clothing to be able to sell at market. And a wife with strong character is also rather surprisingly described in terms that are often associated with military prowess. She's not timid. She does not lack courage as skillfully she executes her responsibilities. As I mentioned, I dare say that I can thank God that I have been blessed with such a wife. And as such, I realize I do not deserve a good a wife as she is, but yet God is gracious. So Karen is always a reminder of God's grace to me. May you be reminded of God's grace too in very many ways. And as we think about the sacrifice of Jesus Christ on the cross, we give thanks to God for the incomparable, incomprehensible, inexhaustible gift that has been given to us of God's love that is a gift on account of Jesus' death and resurrection. What a blessing collectively as the church it is to be the bride of Christ and to know that he gave his life for us so that he could present us as holy and blameless in God's sight. All right, so those are some good thoughts to wrap up